dinner time.
George Kilpatrick, Inspiration for the Nation. We're so pleased to be joined by Onondaga County Legislator Maurice Brown from the 15th Legislative District. Maurice, tell us, Legislator Brown, what district, where you are in the city and county.
Thank you. Yeah. So the 15th Legislative District is located entirely within the city of Syracuse. It's made up of a bunch of neighborhoods that border DeWitt and the town of Onondaga, but pretty much starting from Meadowbrook through the university neighborhood, through Outer Comstock, past Brighton Towers into the valley. I go all the way to the Nedrow line, and then we come up pretty much Valley Drive into Strathmore. And then I pretty much have like South Avenue up until about the chess room, if you know where that is. But it's a pretty diverse district. We got a lot of different voices and different
Yes, you
personalities.
do.
Yeah, it's a lot going on, but I like it. It fits me because I'm all over the place.
I call you the progressive voice. All right, two things I wanted to ask you because you're running. By the way, you're running.
I am,
and you are unopposed.
I am.
And is how you feel about that? Did you want to debate somebody?
I mean, I am all for elections. I'm all for primaries and all of that. I won a primary and a general last year or 2 years ago in 23. But I'm not gonna lie, it is much better to be unopposed than it is to be opposed. I don't mind talking, policy or debating or anything like that. I don't like dislike it, but running for office is exhausting. And this year we have the budget season. So this is my second budget cycle, and I'll probably talk about that a little more. But now I can really hone in. I can really focus on delivering the best budget for Onondaga County. And that in itself is like a campaign. So, I can really put all my eggs in this basket.
So this is your second term you're running for?
Yep. I'm running for my first reelection. So.
And what can you share with listeners about your background and why you have been inspired to serve on the ledge?
Yeah, so I was in the military, but working at OCC. I worked at OCC before I got elected. And working at OCC, you really get to see the young people in this community. You really get to see, firsthand the like fruits of our labor, if you will. And our young people, they understand math, they understand science. These young people, they're smart. They are not dumb, but what they struggle with is housing insecurity. They struggle with the bus doesn't get to campus on time. They struggle with things that are outside of their control. And me, as somebody who's, pretty versed in politics, I felt like I had the ability to help them get where they need to go better as an elected official than I can as, one advisor at OCC. And that kind of was the catalyst for running. And, I like to think that I've been effective. Have I gotten everything done that I wanted to do in my first 2 years? Absolutely not. But, we're building towards something, and I'm proud of the work that I've done. Very proud, actually.
And you're pretty progressive in your views.
For sure. Definitely.
And you're not running away from that.
No, not even a little bit. I got to wear it on my sleeve. It's who I am.
And that of course makes you a very, very small minority.
Yes.
Within this community.
Yes, within this community, within my caucus, like even within the Democratic caucus or the Democratic Party, I am seen as an other. But I don't want to do something just because we've been doing it. Insanity is doing the same thing several times over and over, expecting different results. And in this community, we've not had many, outright progressives. Very few elected officials will flat out tell you they're a progressive. Mayor Walsh is not a progressive. County Executive McMahon, John Mannion, congressman. These are not people who are progressives. And I am comfortable in my skin where this is where I am. This is, I think we need to try something different. I think we need to try, we can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. And I think that adding me into this current conversation is helping move us in the right direction.
Maurice, you talk about, can I call you Maurice?
Yes, sir. You can call me Maurice.
Listen, you talk about the fact that you are progressive. Yes. So what does that mean in contrast to the traditional Democratic establishment? And side note, you must be cheering from the rooftops on the primary win of Zoran Mamdani
For sure.
in New York City. Like, is that your boy? For
That
example?
is my guy. I am behind him 100%. But yeah, so to me being a progressive, it means that, I want to push a little further. So I wear the label of Democratic Socialist. I don't run from that at all. And to me, it means that, housing, healthcare, and education are human rights, and they need to be protected by local government. If you want to sell Reese's Pieces, you can charge $1 million for Reese's Pieces. If you want to sell the parking space in front of your house for $100 because you live near SU, I think you should be able to charge whatever you want for that parking space. But if you want to sell, prescription drugs, the government's going to step in. If you want to raise your rent so that the whole neighborhood is homeless, I think government needs to step in. And I think that in those specific areas, you can't let capitalism go unchecked because people get hurt. And the role of government is to protect people. And that's what I want to do. That's why I ran. That's why I'm here.
As a Democratic Socialist in Onondaga County,
Yep.
do the Democrats run from you?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I have plenty. I probably have more enemies who are Democrats than I do who are Republicans. And I'm okay with that. Like, I am very comfortable in my values. I know what I believe, and I won't run away from it. And, I don't hate anybody. I will be respectful to everyone. And I like to think that I have cordial relationships with people on both sides. But if I think you're doing harm to the community, I don't care what party you're in, I'm going to, one, say, stop doing harm to this community. And if you keep doing harm, I'm going to actively oppose you doing harm. And not everybody likes that. Some people want to just do harm in peace.
So it's hard to build consensus then if you don't have, you know what I mean? Like, they who are your people there?
So there's more of us than you realize. We just aren't in elected office. There is like an elected class here, if you will. There's a lot of people who like believe that, they are meant to serve, and they have been served. We have a lot of politicians that have been serving for long times in this community. And for the most part, things have been working out for them, but things have not been working out for people like me and people who look like me. And I think it's in large part because of how we've done things. So I feel very comfortable in the community when I talk to people because I am not in the minority in the community. There are lots of us. There are a lot of people who think that our homeless problem is more important than buying an aquarium. A lot of people. But, in elected office, it's not that case. But I don't mind being in a minority here if I'm in the majority in the community. And I really feel I am.
Are you close to the Greens in that respect?
The Greens.
The Green Party.
The Green Party. Oh, I thought you were talking about the Greens with Skyline and whatnot. I'm not close with them at all.
I mean, because a lot of the things that the Green,
the Green Party.
I mean, the Green, not those Greens.
Yes,
a lot of state values on equity for all these kinds of things.
Yep. So the values are similar, but the way you go about it, I think, is different. You get a lot more with honey than you do with vinegar. And, it's one thing to be right. It's one thing to have, better opinions. I don't know if I do, but I'm willing to work with people who I think are wrong in making their idea better or making their idea work for more people. Whereas we have a lot of people that draw their lines in the sand, they place their stake down and they say, this is the right thing. And if, you do this or else. And I don't think, we should go that far. I guess an example I can use is like the aquarium. We are rushing into this. I don't think we should do it. But if we're going to do it, we should have local labor. We should have local labor on that job. There should be a requirement that if you're going to work there, you have to live in Onondaga County. I'm going to fight for that. I'm currently fighting for that. But, it's a lot easier said than done. When we the managing of the aquarium, I was advocating that Rosemont Gifford Zoo be the management. We went with the outside company, and I'm rooting for them to do well. It's our investment. But I think the aquarium is a bad idea. I think we should not have done it. I think, we shouldn't invest in it. But if we are going to invest it, we need to at least apply the most equitable principles possible. and not just try and make as much money from it as possible, because one, it's not a profitable venture. Two, we have to invest in our community, and we have not done that.
You know what I like about what I'm hearing from you
Yes, sir.
is, and like you said, the comfortability you have in your skin. Some of us aren't able to say that, like go all the way through. It's like, okay, well,
Mhm.
we in now. Well, I'm gonna
Mhm.
try to get this now. Well, we
Yes.
in now, like we just give up. And so let me frame it this way: what should we be fighting for right now in the queues? That was my main question to you because
Mhm.
um, I'm not, I just want to I want people who are listening to really be galvanized around something that we might be missing.
Yeah, so I'm on the county legislature, so I have a bias, but I'm gonna say county government. I got into county government because the city, so I don't think the region will thrive if we don't have a strong city center. I just do. The model of cities that I've seen that have worked, you have a strong city and the suburbs around it are able to thrive because that city is strong. Right
Right.
now, our city is not strong. The city of Syracuse, we lead the nation in child poverty. We are really high in minority poverty. We lead the nation in things you don't want to lead the nation in, like lead rates,
Right.
like, graduation rates on the bad side. And I think that the county can do more to help the city. And I want to be a part of facilitating that. Can the state do more? For sure. Can the city do things better themselves to like manage their situation? For sure. But, you can only stretch a dollar, but so far, at some point, you're going to need $2. And the county is in a position to give the city $2, but, we don't. A lot of our police force doesn't live in the city. A lot of our teachers don't live in the city. And, you have the eds and meds. You have people who live in the suburbs, come in the city, take from the tax base, and then go back to Manlius, go back to Cicero, and build up those communities. And I love that for sure, but I don't think there's ever going to be a time in New York State's history where you look at the big cities in New York State and you're like, oh, Buffalo, Rochester, Cicero, Albany. Like if Syracuse is struggling, the region will be viewed as struggling. And I think we, should help Syracuse not struggle.
Well, so let's talk about that struggle,
Yeah.
right? So your district has some struggle and it has some wealth,
Yeah. Yeah.
as most communities, right?
Yeah.
And so, how do you translate in that to what you just said? How do you translate that into actual legislation
Mhm.
in a county legislature,
Yeah.
which is majority Republican and outside
Yeah.
of the city of Syracuse?
Yeah, so the county legislature is horrendously gerrymandered by design. This was, the result of an action, but it doesn't have to be. And we can work back. And there are people in suburbs that get it. There are people in Manlius. There are people in DeWitt. I'll shout out Elaine Denton. I'll shout out in Salina. You have Jeremiah Thompson. There are people who understand that you need that strong city center, and a strong city center doesn't necessarily mean that the city is a fun place to visit. It's like, yeah, you want a mall, you want an aquarium, you want these things that people can come visit, but people live here and you got to, support those people that live here. And county government, we have the ability to pay for things. So one thing that, I kind of don't even want to say it because I don't want to put it out there, because once I touch something, it kind of becomes poison. But a project that I'm watching, I'm not touching it, but one I would like the conversation to I would like the county to help more on is Valley Plaza. Valley Plaza, there was a Tops left 2018, and we've been trying to find a grocery store for a while. And the city was able to find one, but the numbers don't necessarily add up. It's hard to guarantee profitability, and the vendor that's coming in the store, they're taking a chance. They're taking a chance on this community. And I think county government, I think we're in a position to soften that blow. I do. I think we can provide, funding. We can help pay for startup costs. We can help pay so they're only going to be using half of the old space, so we can help to renovate it. There are things we can do as the county that we haven't historically, and there's nothing stopping us from doing those things but political will. And I'm trying to generate the political will to do those things, because we can have nice things too. Like we can do good things for people from county government,
But
you go. Sorry.
well, you said that
Elected
if you
officials.
get on it, it's poison. But we need if but how does that work for your district if you're poisoned for everything you work on?
I'm not poisoned for everything that I work for, but the things that I give voice to because I'm supporting them, I know for a fact there are elected officials that will stay away from them. So, like during this budget cycle, there's going to be a lot of amendments, a lot of things that I've been working on privately that I won't get credit for. And I don't want credit for it. What I want is a better city. So if these things get passed, I will happily let, the people who hate me most take credit. They can take the victory lap. They can pretend it was their idea from the beginning. And I really don't want that. If, they want to take credit and then run against me and then take my job, whatever, I'll take that risk if it means the people in the valley get a grocery store. If it means that, we can have teachers that are paid, we can have social workers that are able to, do their job effectively. And I will happily die on those hills. I'm not in this for glory or the love of the game or nothing like that. I just want a better community because I live here. This is my home, and I feel we're struggling in some areas that we can do better.
You said we should be paying more attention to county government. In what ways should we be doing that?
So the budget is going to be presented to the legislature September 15th at noon. It will be on YouTube, but the way the budget process works, the county executive presents it to the legislature, and then as the legislature, we review it and we say, okay, the district attorney's office has not enough money, and the sheriff's maybe has too much money, or we need more for social services. We figure that out as the county, and then we amend the budget as the legislature. Sorry. So that process starts Tuesday. It starts the 15th.
Right, which is by the time people see this, it's tomorrow.
It will be tomorrow. Okay, so yes, tomorrow. But no, check it out on YouTube. It will be there. You can ongov.net/legislature is the county legislature's website. But you're gonna get the headline. Syracuse.com and Central Current, they'll report on it and they'll say, this year's budget. So we really don't know. It's actually been pretty quiet on the budget, and quiet is actually bad. I'm actually pretty nervous because when folks are getting a lot of money, they tell you, because the person who got the money wants that credit, and it's been pretty quiet. So I'm a little nervous, but I think that, we're in a food crisis. And that food crisis, I think, is hitting everybody. I think there's crisis all over the places. I'm only picking food because I think there's countywide appeal where my district, we have food deserts and the food crisis is hitting these food districts hard. Like the food bank, the demand is higher than it's ever been. But the food situation is so hard, it's hitting farmers. Like farmers out in, not even Marcellus, in like Baldwinsville or in Tully, farmers, they aren't able to get their food from Tully to the regional market or to where they need to go to. And it's largely because of the federal government. The federal government made cuts and those cuts trickled down. But as the county legislature, we're in a position to help. We're in a position to be a Band-Aid. We can't be a permanent solution. We just don't have the funding for that. But we can be a Band-Aid until, the federal government gets its act together. But people are hurting and we are in a position to help them. We're also in a position to entertain them, and we can do things like the aquarium. We can do, fun things. And I don't have anything against fun things. The amphitheater, I love these things. I think, it's good to have fun. But people are hungry. People need housing. People need, to be able to go to the doctor, equitably. If your doctor's in, St. Joe's and Manlius and the bus don't go there, you don't have access to healthcare. And we need to make it so that people do. So
talking with Maurice Brown, he's Onondaga County Legislator.
Yes.
The 15th district. And we're talking about what we need to understand. Budget is going to be released tomorrow, 12 noon on YouTube. Check it out. And a couple of other things that you said. How excited are you about the STEAM High School?
I'm so excited about the STEAM School. I was upset that I was invited to the ribbon cutting and I just couldn't make it. But I think that one is a creative. I love it as an idea. I love the idea of like a regional STEAM school, just having all of our best minds, cultivating in the same room. But I also like it in that it's going to get people looking at the Syracuse City School District who wouldn't normally. Like if you're the top mind at, FM, if you're the top science person at, Baker out in Baldwinsville, it makes sense for you to go to the STEAM school. And I want those people going to school with our kids from Nottingham and Corcoran. I don't see why they shouldn't. You want the best to come together, and that's when you get really good products. So I'm actually very excited about the STEAM school.
Housing, economic development are always big issues.
Yeah.
So it's not your district, right? But you've been in the university area.
Yeah, I
And
have some.
you know, huh?
I have some of the university area.
All right, so you've seen these mega complexes that are going up, right? Here's my problem. It's not a problem. I don't mind housing going up.
Okay.
What they're creating, so usually with buildings, and it's you creating activity on the streets, if you will.
Yes.
But these buildings are doing everything is insular. So
Yeah.
there's no interaction with the community itself. You're like everything is self-contained. And
Yeah.
look, developers can do whatever they want to do, but
Yeah.
it's a very interesting design so that you got all these people that are not outside. So,
Yeah.
am I seeing that wrong, or is that something you observed as well?
That is something I observe as well. And it's concerning. I hate that I have to say that, it's just such a cliche phrase, but it really is. And for so long, so much of our new housing development has exclusively been student housing. So much is either student or luxury. We try for market rate, and even market rate is complicated, but it's so much student housing. And a part of the student housing model is to keep students with students and out of the community. But like you said, that defeats the purpose for us in government. Like, we want them in the community, we want everybody in the community, buying and shopping and doing the most. But that is their, like, I can't get mad at the business for doing what a business does. That's literally your job, is to make the most money. The role of government is to set it so that, they can't just take advantage of that, loophole. Not even loophole, but they shouldn't be able to just build, tax free or like filled with incentives if they aren't going to help us achieve our community goals.
Maurice, obviously poverty is a big issue in this community. You've talked about that. You're funding programs, but the federal government has cut a lot of programs that would help a lot of people. So how can the county respond in a way that still supports our greatest need?
So in some ways, unfortunately, the answer is we can't. We can Band-Aid, but like the federal government is cutting Medicaid at, historic rates. The state of New York maybe can step in, but even then, the rates are just so high. Like Medicaid, people get Medicaid, but also hospitals get Medicaid, and they rely on that funding to stay open. So like if we start seeing hospitals closing in Schuyler County and, Auburn, that's going to have terrible, terrible side effects, from people losing their jobs to people losing care. And we should try and stop that whenever possible. But as the county, I think we're in a position to be a Band-Aid. So I'll use childcare as the example this time. The state cut back on childcare. I forgot what the number was, but I'm pretty sure it was 8 figures. It was like an 8-figure number. And because of it, the county, we stopped taking new childcare in. And when that happens, it sucks. People need childcare. People scramble. The people who need childcare, it hurts them, but it also hurts the daycares because now they aren't getting funding. So like it's a spot where as a county, we can come in and say, we're not going to let you guys bleed out. We're going to hold you over until the state gets its act together. And in some ways, that's kind of what we did at the county. Could we have done it better? Absolutely. Could we have done it with less confusion? Absolutely. But, we were able to be that Band-Aid. I think that local government is your last line of defense. It's it's the safety. It's the safety when, the linebacker gets beat, when the D line gets beat, you have a backup in place. And that's what local government is supposed to be. And that's what I'm hoping we can be for people. That's why I'm so looking forward to this budget, because our O-line got beat. The federal government kind of hung us out to dry. I'm sure, everyone listening or most people listening know what happened with Blueprint 15 and the funding getting cut from that area.
Millions of dollars.
Million, literally. And it's like, we can't replace that. Like, the county can't. That's, just us losing that. We lost too bad up front, and we need to figure something else out. But we can help in some places. We can't help everywhere, but we can help in some places. And in those places, I feel we have a duty to. We kind of have to help because they're where I can help. Yeah, sorry.
What is your priority then for this next term? You talked about the community paying attention to the budget.
Yes.
So two things.
Yep.
How can our voice matter in this next? Like, what do you think the audience? What's one message for the audience that you think they should be paying attention to? Again, as we close, we talked a little bit about earlier, and then what is your priority for the next term?
So housing and transportation, those I think are the two biggest connectors with social mobility, someone's ability to go from lower class to middle class to upper class. If you can fix housing and transportation for that person, they're, exponentially more likely to make that jump. However, in this moment, I'm kind of focused on food justice. I'm focused on our like refugee resettlement services. I think that, Central New York has a place in American history as far as helping people trying to find a better life. I think that we, the Jerry Rescue, Harriet Tubman came through here. Like, we are important in that, and I take pride in that. And this is a moment where there are people who need help, and I think we can help them, and we should. But food justice, that childcare, but the biggest thing I think folks should be watching is around our social services. So a lot of the social services kind of interacts with the school district, and that those line of communications can be stronger, but it's a lot of like, oh, he didn't do this. There's a lot of he said, she said, but I think that we can boost our staffing levels at social services. And I think just boosting our staffing levels to, a somewhat normal rate would pay real dividends as far as people falling through. There's a lot of people who fell through the cracks that if we had been able to catch them, we, could have saved their lives in some situations. So those are the biggest things that I'm focused on, making sure our social services are taken care of, and then food justice and resettlement services right now.
All
for
right.
this budget. Sorry.
And for the people who live in the Valley and Strathmore and part of the university, what is your priority for them?
For us, so the Valley, I want to see this supermarket come through. I think that that would be huge honestly, I think it would be huge for the like city, not just the Valley. I do think that would have citywide impact because that supermarket is going to be along the BRT route, and it's going to be the last stop, Valley Plaza, on the Bus Rapid Transit route. Sorry, I got stopped with the acronyms, but Bus Rapid Transit, pretty soon you'll be able to get pretty much to most of the city by bus pretty fast. Like, you'll have like a 15-minute wait at most. 20 minutes is the thing, is like the actual number. And
that's a new thing that's happening?
Yep. So Bus Rapid Transit is, I want to say we start rolling it out January. It's coming pretty soon, but it goes so everything starts at the hub, and then it goes down South Avenue to OCC, goes up James Street to Eastwood, and then to Shop City, like around and through there, and then it goes to the mall, and then it goes to the university, creating like an X. It creates like an X, and then beneath the X, there's a line that goes right down Salina Street from the hub to Valley Plaza. So you're going to be able to get to that supermarket pretty easily from places where you couldn't get to a supermarket easily before. And I think that would help. But
this is something that Centro's rolling out.
yep, Central is rolling this out. This is on their website. They're pretty loud about it, and the state's behind it. Everyone's behind it. I don't think anybody's against it. More education. People need to know that it exists, because if people don't know you can take the bus now effectively, it's, defeats the purpose. But yeah, that, and general upholding our values, the things we stand for, Central New Yorkers.
One thing we didn't mention, and I would be remiss, that people would be shouting me out if I didn't talk about Micron.
We have to talk about Micron.
and where is that right now for you?
Oh, so it's in progress. So we just finished the public comment period. So my focus on Micron has been about, I'm calling it like the pipeline, but with the Micron, to me, the Micron promise is, if you're a kid at Corcoran High School, you're in the 11th grade, once Micron is up and going, we can reasonably say you can live in your community, make $70,000, $80,000 within 4 years. We've never been able to offer that to our young people. Never in our lifetime have we been able to say to an 11th grader that 4 years from now, you can be making $80,000. And the Micron promise is that those jobs will be available to them, but the promise is not enough. The way it works is you're going to have to go to OCC to get schooling, and then you're going to have a job in Clay. So if you don't drive, it's hard to get to OCC. It's hard to get to Clay. So we need to make sure that we can get people to OCC who want to, participate in the promise, and then eventually get them to Clay. So making sure that promise goes to everyone and not just people who can drive or people with means is a big part for me. But I think it's a net positive. I am terrified of the environmental impacts. I wish we could do a better job at addressing them. I think we still have a chance to do a better job at addressing the environmental impacts, as far as Micron generating their own power and then just using less of our power as the community. But, I don't think the Micron promise is worth a Great Lake. I don't even think it's worth a Finger Lake. I don't think that, we should pollute our lakes to, build these chips. But if we can do it sustainably, I think that the Micron promise is, it's worth fighting for.
Of course, for those that don't know, what is the Micron promise? For those that don't.
So it's not an official thing. It's just the idea that with Micron here, there are going to be a lot of jobs available for people who want them.
And they're a chip manufacturer.
Manufacturing, chip making.
And they're building a complex. I call it a complex. They're going to build
complex.
Clay.
That works.
Yeah. Clay, New York.
Yeah.
It's funny because you talked about bus rapid transit, where those jobs are. I mean, obviously there should be a shuttle from the hub to Micron to make that happen. So, if it ain't, Central, get busy, because if we're going to talk about opportunities, let's make sure that happens. All right.
Yeah.
Maurice Brown is a legislator for Onondaga County's 15th district. Vote.
Yes.
Tuesday, November the 5th. Vote for Maurice. And I can only say that because he's running on
the post. Make sure you have your vote count. There's other elections on the ballot for sure, but yeah, if you see my name, please bubble the box.
Right? Because he's running on the post. But listen, Maurice, we wanted you to come on to give us an overview, a young voice in the community, and a veteran too. So we appreciate you and what you're doing, and come back and lastly, how are Knicks gonna do this year?
I'm going title. This is the first year I will be disappointed with a conference finals appearance.
Oh, they have to win this year.
We have to at least make it, but we gotta win. We gotta win. It's everything. No Tatum, no Halliburton. Yeah. It's wide open for us to win. And we were close last year. We were close.
Yeah.
We were so close. But yes.
We're both, if you haven't guessed, both
big Knicks fans.
Big. Don't you have like a podcast or something, or a Twitter page?
Yeah.
I'm all up in that.
I'm very big in the Knicks space.
It's so funny.
For sure. Oh, you go. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say we're starting like an upstate community. We're gonna be watching the games locally. There's a couple of us Knicks fans. Obviously,
You know, let me know where and when.
you know,
Let me know where and when. I told my wife because my kids, they laugh because me and I have a friend who is diehard. We're like dissecting every game. She's like, have you talked to your co-owner lately?
Yes, we are running the team.
I said, I am not the only one in America because I think there's something cultish about being a Knicks fan, but also people are making lots of money on being Knicks fans. I don't know why I'm not, but people are like, they have whole industries. I think the Knicks have more podcasts than any other team in the country.
Yes.
I mean, how many? And everyone they're making money doing it because there's
a lot of money to be made. There's a lot of content. And the Knicks are good. Like, we're legit good. It's not fake. It's not like we are legit a title contender. And this is the first time we can say that since like 99, since the Ewing era.
Listen.
Mo, we're here.
If this does happen, I don't care where I am or what I'm doing. I will be in New York City.
100%. 100%. June of next year. I've told somebody because June is usually like the primary season. And if I have a primary, I'm like, my opponent will be able to pounce on the fact that I'm not going to be in Syracuse if we win the title. I will be in the Canyon of Heroes making all the noise as possible. And I will take whatever political consequence.
Losing the city. Will New York survive that? I don't even know.
Usually, we almost didn't survive the conference final. They was tearing down light posts.
A little levity for the seriousness that's going on in our community. So but
thank you for having me, though, George. I really do appreciate this.
Mo, it's been a pleasure, and keep fighting the fight. George Kilpatrick, Inspiration for the Nation.
All right.